What is up, guys? It is Wednesday night here. Had a taper run tonight, just 3 miles. It was a very good run, probably because the mileage was down. But ultimately, starting to feel much better from the illness that I had last week. So starting to feel definitely at 100%. Nutrition's going fairly well this week. Definitely need to eat probably some more carbs in the upcoming days. I did crush a bag of popcorn the past 2 days though, so definitely bolstering that. Had a little bit of cake at lunch. So approaching carb loading from an interesting perspective. I do have some goos to take for the race on Saturday morning. Race is gonna be, I think probably around 7:30, maybe a little bit later. So probably have to leave Greenville here at about 5 a.m. at the latest. Well, actually looking it up, I might have to get out of here a little bit early in the 4:30 range. So it's gonna be a nice early morning on Saturday. Definitely gonna be a kind of nap day, but feeling pretty good going into it. Feeling strong with the climbs yesterday, with the runs tonight, and just overall feeling pretty good. So I look forward to seeing what happens in the race on Saturday. That being said, had the opportunity to catch up with a friend of mine tonight. Very good discussion. And I think the other night, Saturday night, I imagine right before Easter, I talked about making sure that you take time to recognize and spend some time on what really matters. And this is one of my oldest friends. I've known him all the way since like the 5th grade. So like probably 10 years old, 11 years old. So that's quite a long time. Became very good friends throughout the years, definitely into high school, into college. And we definitely talk a couple times a year, looking to set something up. In the talk, just talking about maturing, talking about working through life, and the topic of therapy came up, which I've touched base on maybe just a little bit in the videos that came through. And I don't personally go to therapy. I've had this conversation several times with some very good friends of mine that do, and find a lot of value in it. And in the discussion, however, I feel like I got a little bit of personal validation and understanding that the work that I do on a daily basis or over time in the way that I journal and in the way that I'm very reflective and introspective is really probably a lot of what they would help guide me through. And really I took some notes regarding this and kind of the way that I do it. I've talked on journaling before, right? And one of the key issues that has come up for me is just respect in general between two people. So in the relationships that I have, and ultimately self-respect. And I think, in my past, I really struggled with self-respect, which then thereby I think corrupts a lot of the respect that you can have in your relationships. I wasn't considerate of my own wishes and my own feelings, and I would often just shove them way down and not really acknowledge them, oftentimes all the way until it blew up. This also makes it very hard for anybody, friendship, partner, family, any close relationships, to understand what your wishes and your feelings are. People are not mind readers. So that was a big thing for me, is one, coming to terms with what it is that I want and what it is that I feel, and not tamping those down and shoving those down, and giving me time to come to terms and better understand myself, which ultimately allows me the opportunity to maintain a higher level of self-respect and ultimately higher levels of respect in my relationship. A lot of that has just been work that I've been doing pretty much daily, but over the course of a couple of years, utilizing journaling, utilizing self-reflection every day. And I wanted to talk about that process and what that looks like for me, because I think ultimately it's very helpful. And hopefully you find it helpful if you decide to put it to use. One key topic is vulnerability. So going through a hard time a couple years ago, and being a person that really talked about my feelings or talked about what I was going through, I definitely had to address that and change that. And ultimately talking more with a lot of different people, a lot of which became really good friends because I was able to express how it was I felt, and ultimately that it's a better expression of who I am as an individual, right? And so the people that stick around, they're there because of who you truly are and what you're showing them. That's incredibly powerful. And I think that it's basically the best medicine that I could get at that time to improve my mental state and my headspace and ultimately get out of a very dark space and dark time in my life. But ultimately, from an introspection aspect, which is something I've really been doing a lot of thought and theorizing on because I'm very introspective, this is how I analyze any given thing that happens through the day. So the way I target these things is identify situations that I feel didn't go well or didn't go as well as I would like them to, right? So that's one of the first questions that I ask. What did not go well? I'll write that situation down, right? This is what happened. I try to be very specific in what happened, who did it happen with, and then ultimately I write down what role did I play. And this would be, what actions did I take? How did I behave? How did the interactions go? What did I say? How did I treat the other person? Really truthfully handling the role I played and the elements that I was in control of, which is myself in the interaction. And then I'd really try to get into and understand what led to those actions, like what led to the behaviors that I exhibited. And ultimately, I think that most likely led to either bad outcomes or an overall poor interaction. And then writing those down, come through, what triggered those actions? Like, what about this interaction caused me to feel a way that then I behaved that way, right? And a lot of times, especially being a very emotional individual, I feel a thing and then I act very quick. I don't take the time to process for a second, analyze and understand, and then react accordingly. Now, I'm much better than I ever was before because I've been working through this, right? Because this last one is, what interrupts, this keyword interrupts, do I put in place to be prepared and remain in control should this situation happen again, or should a similar situation happen again? All this is looking and making a plan for the future. Say, man, this sucked. I did not like the way that this situation went. I do not like the outcome of this situation, and I would like to not have this happen again. So what am I gonna do differently? Like, first, you can just survey actions and what you want to do differently, but ultimately you need some interrupts in there. You need to say, hey, when I feel this way, I need to take a moment. I need to understand that, potentially even convey it. Say, hey, this is how this feels right now. I don't know why I feel this way, so I just want to clear this up and say, hey, this is what I'm interpreting, this is what I'm hearing, this is how I'm feeling. I don't want to make it all about feelings. Not super into that, entering that into a ton of the conversation, but where necessary and where it's going to be more productive, you absolutely have to. So go through that really quick again. So what did not go well? Document, be specific about that. What role did you play? What actions did you take? What behaviors did you have? What things did you say? What triggered those actions? Like, what led to those actions, right? Identifying kind of the triggering behaviors or the triggering words or the triggering interactions, whatever's coming from there. Some of which is just internal, right? It's the way you interpreted something. So always seeking to understand. And ultimately, like, the way that I would sum this up, so lastly, before I get to this last point, what interrupts will you put in place? So that way we can prevent this from happening again. Do this analysis every day on even just one thing. I'm sure there's one thing that you can analyze every single day. I did that for years and years and years. Now, maybe not every day do I analyze things because I would say that I've gotten better. Now, but there are daily opportunities where I wish I could do something a little bit better. I do take this still regularly throughout the week and analyze, man, this happened. I wish I did this better, or I wish I handled this better. So I still take those all the time. It's part of journaling. Ultimately, what you need to do, if you really want to improve your mindset, improve how you think your life is going, and improve your results ultimately, don't turn away from your feelings. Don't shove them down. Don't turn away behaviors you're not proud of, right? Wherever you're at, especially if you have to apologize, you definitely can't turn away from those. But if you feel shame and you feel negative about situations, you got to take a good hard look at those and understand what they are and how you're going to address and take those, either reduce them or eliminate them from your life. You need to lean in there, and really ultimately what you're trying to do is seek understanding yourself. Understanding yourself enables a level of self-respect and ultimately enables more respect in your relationships. I think it enables stronger relationships. In my experience, it's been very effective. Past 2-3 years, friends have become a lot closer. I've become close with a lot of my family members again. Important people to me. I've been able to strengthen those relationships and make some of the best friends I've ever had. Still working on a lot of aspects, admittedly, right? But these are some key things that you could do. You can do this every day. All you need is a little bit of paper, some pens, writing utensil, paper. Write it down, get it out, work on it. Work on yourself day by day. So hopefully that helps. I appreciate you guys very much. Be safe.